नमस्ते, प्रणाम, गीता ध्यानम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Partha. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudevasutam devam kansachanuramardanam devaki paramanandam Krishnam vande jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 17th Adhyaya, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of threefold Shraddha. And how this threefold Shraddha that begets, that comes to the individuals, that comes to beings, make us work in certain fashion, make us work towards purity, make us work towards the mediocrity, or it makes us work towards attaining all that impurity, the wretchedness, the evilness. And then Sri Krishna is now telling us more he's explaining to us about how these people endowed with Sattvika Shraddha, what types of food they like. People endowed with Rajasic Shraddha, what types of foods they like. That is what Sri Krishna has told us in the last two verses that we read. And how that food, what is the end result of having consumed that type of food. Now, if the sattvic person has a choice for all the pure food in the right quantities, very tasty, in the right proportions, everything in the right proportions, the fat and the taste elements, everything is optimized, including the quantity of the food. So Sri Krishna says that food which is liked, such food which is liked by the Sattvika tendency people, it leads to all the beneficial effects. It leads to longevity, it leads to vitality, and longevity is not longevity lying in bedridden longevity, no. Sri Krishna says it is a healthy longevity. It is a bala, arogya. It is a healthy and with great vigor, with great power and cheerfulness. There is no distress in the life of such sattvic people. There is no room for any kind of grief or sorrow or sadness. These people, they will have a pleasant smile on their faces because they have the right food which is conducive to overall health, overall good health, free from diseases, free from ailments, free from problems as such. Then the Rajasic type of people who love that bitter and the pungent and salty and sour and highly excessively hot, that kind of food, which actually produces a lot of uneasiness. Now, this is the type of food that is enjoyed by the Rajasic people. And what happens once Rajasic people eat such type of food? Then it is nothing but distress. It is nothing but uneasiness. It is nothing but dukkha shoka amaya prada. That the giver of diseases, the giver of pain, the giver of the stress. That is this Rajasic food. It in no way helps the spiritual aspirant take that progress on that spiritual path, because That person is always bogged down by all the negative things in life. Health is not good, the mind is not at rest, even the mood is not good. The moment you have all these problems, you can never be in a good mood, cheerful mood. You will always be in distress. So Sri Krishna told us about the satvika type of the food that is loved by satvik people, and food that is loved, liked by, enjoyed by the rajasic people. What about tamasic now? Let us see in the 10th shlok, Sri Krishna is going to tell us, put more light on that aspect of food which is liked, which is enjoyed by the tamasic people. Yatayamam gatarasam puti paryushitam chayat uchishtam apichamedhyam bhojanam tamasapriyam. That type of food is very dear to the tamasic people. What type? Let us see now. Yatayamam. Yatayamam is stale, cooked 1 week back. It's all all the taste elements in that food, they have gone. The stale food. Yatayamam. Gatarasam. It has become tasteless. Naturally, you cook something 1 week earlier, and now if we intend to eat that food, what kind of the taste it will carry? All the taste will be gone. It will have with the passage of time, it has become so stale. There is no taste. Gatarasam. Puti. Puti is putrid. It has started rottening. It has started rottening. Puti. Paryushitam chayat. And also, which is paryushitam. Paryushitam is actually rotten, gone. It has started, putrefying. So that kind of food, which is stale, which is tasteless, which has no taste in it, which has gone putrid, which has gone rotten. Uchishtam api. And also, api is and also. What? Uchishtam. It is leftover, refuse. People have not eaten it, and whatever is leftover food, that leftover food is piled up, collected over so many days. That uchishtam. Cha amedhyam. Amedhyam is impure. Naturally, the food which goes stale, which is leftover. Uchishtam. Somebody has already partaken of it when it was fresh and nice and good and tasty. But now that food which is left by someone has enjoyed that food long back. Then that food, whatever was left over, is collected. All the things are collected together, and over a period of time, it is allowed to get putrefied. It is allowed to get become rotten. There is no taste in it. So that type of food is naturally, it is going to become so much of filled with impurities. There will be the rancidity. There will be possibly even the growing of those insects. So nothing, absolutely no good at all in that food. But still, that type of food, tamasapriyam, the tamasic minded people, they love that kind of food. They don't bother about, oh, this doesn't have any taste, this has gone so old, this has gone so stale, this is putrefied, this is rottening, this is most impure. But tamasic people, their nature being like that, their nature itself being highly impure, their nature itself is so much downgraded, they don't feel anything about this type of impure food also. And therefore Sri Krishna says, this is what happens with the tamasic people. They like this type of food, which no sattvic person, no rajasic person would even look at. But tamasic people, they happily enjoy even that kind of putrid and rotten and stale and tasteless and the impure food, and also the leftovers. They don't bother about it. Now, this is what happens this is absolutely, I mean, Sri Krishna then doesn't even tell us what happens after eating such food. There is no need to tell us. Unlike for sattvic food, Sri Krishna told us that sattvic food leads to longevity, the healthier lifestyle, the charming, the cheerfulness, the happiness, the joyous lifestyle. With the Rajasic, it is okay. There is grief, there is some kind of distress, there is some kind of uneasiness, even the diseases start. But for the Tamasic, Sri Krishna has not even spoken about what happens after such food is eaten, because there is no point telling that what happens after eating such kind of food. Nothing, no good is going to come. If Rajasic food is leading us into distress and disease, what to talk about this type of Tamasic food, which is stale, which is tasteless, which is putrid, which is rotten, which is leftover, and which is highly impure. So this is the third category of food that Sri Krishna has told us. That which is stale, tasteless, stinking, cooked overnight, refuse, and impure is the food liked by the Tamasic. Discrimination has to be used in regard to food cooked overnight. There are certain kinds of food which cannot be used immediately after cooking but have to be kept for hours or even days before being used. Now, some foods, definition doesn't cover all the foods. Normally, the daily food that we eat. Now, for example, say pickles. Pickle, it is not that we make pickle today and we start eating the pickle. It has to be stored for a certain time frame. It has to be stored for some certain time frame to develop that aroma, to develop that tanginess, to develop that kind of taste in that pickle. So it is not that all foods they come under this category. But normally, day to day, that the rice and chapati and the vegetables and the dal that we eat, Sri Krishna is referring to that kind of food. Now, there are some foods like cheese. When we eat, the cheese is not meant you make it today and immediately you start eating it. The processed cheese that we eat, it has to be stored for maybe 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, depend till that tanginess develops in it. And then it is mixed with the young cheese. And then we get that nicely tasting, the refreshing block of cheese that we eat now. It was processed maybe about a year back. So what Sri Krishna says about yatayamam, the staleness, the time frame between cooking and eating, it is not for all types of foods. So that's where we have to use our power of discernment. That okay, this food is okay. This food, if we eat it after 5 months, no problem. This food, if we eat it after 1 year, no problem. But there is certainly discernment to be observed in our day-to-day type of food. The rice, the roti, the vegetables, the curries that we eat. There are certain kinds of food which cannot be used immediately after cooking but have to be kept for hours or even days or even months before being used. There are others which have to be consumed soon after preparation. Now, this is where that discriminative power, this is where that discernment, the viveka, the buddhi, we should bring put to use for determining which food can be eaten stale, which food just cannot be eaten stale. The fitness for consumption or otherwise of a food article is self-revealed. Fruit kept long loses its attractive color as it gets rotten. The putrid food produces foul odor. Old food becomes stale. The spoiled food becomes tasteless. Now, these are all the things that normally happen with our day-to-day foodstuffs that we eat. You leave it for some days and it starts smelling bad, smelling putrid, smelling rancid. The remnants left over in plate by one individual are unfit to be served to another. This is another Uchishtam what Sri Krishna mentions here in this type of food. People with a tamasic disposition are heedless to all these restrictions. So people who have this tamas dominant nature, they won't even bother to look at all these nitty-gritties of the food that Sri Krishna has elaborated. For them, anything that goes inside is okay, whether it is tasteless, whether it is putrid, whether it is rancid, whether it is stale, whether it is rotten, they are least bothered about it. Their attainments are indicated by the sort of food they take and the manner in which they partake of it. So this is the problem with the tamasic type of people, who there is no good. Forget about good. It is just the worst part pertaining to the food consumption. The quality of food is very bad. And so the after effects of having such foods, the tamasic type of foods that Sri Krishna has mentioned, it is absolutely no good at all. Forget about disease and grief. I mean, okay, it can only lead to the ultimate end of shedding the body. So this is what Sri Krishna has told us about the ahara aspect of these three types of people who are endowed with three types of shraddhas: the sattvic, the rajasic, the tamasic. Now, Sri Krishna will further tell us about the three types of worships that are modes of worships, the modes of the sacrificial acts, the modes of the rituals that are performed by these three types of people. So that we will see in our next reading. Till then, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.